Hi, my name is Allison Robinson, and I am the speech pathologist at Oklahoma Able Tech. Welcome to our presentation, Assistive Technology Implementation Plans. This brief production is going to cover the basics of developing and executing AT implementation plans for students. We will cover information like what is an AT implementation plan, who completes and executes the plan, how administrative support for AT implementation may be obtained in a district, and what should be in a school district's operational procedures regarding AT implementation. If you are watching this, you may already know about considering and assessing a student's assistive technology needs. If not, we have other videos you can watch to get caught up on that information. Most of the time, when school IEP teams work to help a student acquire a piece of assistive technology, the time is spent on assessing the student's needs, providing devices to try, and selecting the one or ones that match the student's needs. Research shows that in approximately 7 states in the U.S., 70% of due process complaints derive from the school's failure to implement the chosen AT. An implementation plan helps the IEP team move forward and determine who and how the AT might be repaired, how different AT services will be coordinated, and when, where, how, and who will provide training and technical assistance to the student, family, and professionals working with the student. When IEP teams members work together through the AT consideration and assessment processes, there tends to be more enthusiasm and buy-in for implementing the assistive technology. So how do we make this happen? We work to create implementation plans for those students who need AT. So what is an implementation plan? Well, it's an actual document that is completed on each student who requires assistive technology. It is not a legal document like the IEP, but information from the plan should be incorporated at some level into the IEP. The implementation plan is completed once the IEP team has decided which tools best match the student's needs. Its purpose is to keep everybody on the same page, and it does not have to look any certain way, as long as it answers some basic AT implementation questions. Here are some things to note. Members of a particular student's IEP team should certainly be the folks completing the implementation plan on that student, but the team should also think about whether or not other people should be included in the process. When teams fill out the AT implementation plan, the following questions should be discussed. What are the goals of the AT? What specific tools have been selected for this student? When will the student use the AT? Who trains the student to use the AT? Where is the AT located while not being used? What happens if the AT stops working? And what are the responsibilities of the team members? There is truly no right or wrong way to create an implementation plan as long as the team answers all questions that will enable the AT to be implemented successfully. Oklahoma Able Tech has an AT implementation organizer that was originally created by Gail Bowser and Dr. Penny Reed, then modified by Able Tech. It asks all of the necessary questions regarding AT implementation and is an easy-to-use form that you may access on the Able Tech website. Up until now, we've been talking about how to work with one student on one IEP and answer questions about his or her AT implementation plan. You know now that this needs to be done and some basics on how to do it, but what about all of the teachers and staff in a school district? Are they aware of this information? Probably not. The next step is sharing this information with the right people to enact change across the school district, and Able Tech can help. By adopting or developing operational procedures for AT implementation and then making those available to school personnel and staff, school districts will be able to consistently implement AT for all students in a district who need it. It is no secret that we first need administrator support to achieve these goals. There are just certain questions that can only be answered by administration. Some examples include, What should educators do when a parent requests an AT assessment during an informal conversation? If an IEP team wants to recommend a particular kind of AT for a child, how and when should administrators be notified? In addition to providing assistance to your administrators, AbleTech has also modified some operational procedures for AT implementation from the publication Education Tech Points that you may edit and then use in your school district. Again, there is no right or wrong way to create operational procedures for AT implementation. We are just providing you a template to use if you choose. As long as you include certain information for all folks in your district to follow, your operational procedures can absolutely look different from ours. So what should be included in a school district's operational procedures for AT implementation? The procedures should answer questions like, where is the implementation plan, worksheet, or organizer kept so all can access it? How is staff notified that the form is available for use? Who does staff contact to request assistance for acquiring AT when needed for a student, providing technical assistance for repairing AT, customizing AT, obtaining a loan of AT, or training and support for AT? When making final decisions about AT implementation plans and operational procedures, remember, brainstorming and legwork can be done by the district's AT support team, then edited and verified by an administrator. Visit the AbleTech website for additional information on creating an AT support team. We hope after watching this short video that you have a better understanding of implementation plans, operational procedures for AT implementation, and administrative support. Please contact Oklahoma AbleTech if you have additional questions about how we can help with your assistive technology needs. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to hearing from you.